let's talk about personas. Maybe you're working with them in your customer experience projects, or maybe you've heard about them, but you're not sure, should I use them? What is the value of using personas? So for me, I think there are two perspectives. So what I've seen in organizations is that when companies use personas, it tends to come from the service design perspective. So a persona in essence is a description of the characteristics of a customer. So the idea is that you don't say, I have customers. No, I have specific segments. For example, I have within my customer base, I have a person called Zanna. She's female. She needs a bit of more help, right? When I want to buy a product, she prefers to do everything online, right? So normally based on qualitative research, you figure out, okay, within my customer base, what kind of personas, what kind of segments do I have? And then you get really rich insights, right? So not just name, not just, a gender, age, that kind of stuff, but really needs-based personas, but also behavior-based. So in the end, let's say maybe you have 3 or 4 personas, and they often are used to either develop products. So maybe a person that wants a lot of help online needs a different support product than a person that says, don't worry, don't bother me, just let me figure everything out myself. So you can tweak products, you can tweak service. And also as a sanity check, for example, for UX. Right, you have a test, okay, we have a website. If we cross-check it with all the types of personas, are we covering all the different needs? Okay, so far, roughly how are personas being used? Am I a fan? I have to say, I'm not. Why? Because what I tend to see is that most organizations did not really found a really applicable way to use personas. So yes, as I mentioned, in the research setting, right, to double check if your UX is covering everything, okay, it's a valid approach. In service design, if you really want to innovate, for me, it's also a valid approach. But what I see times is companies, they develop these personas and maybe they place, like posters in the organization so people really get a feel of, yeah, this is, this is Zanna, but we also have a Pete that has different needs. We also maybe have a young version, Lana, right? So for understanding that there are different customers, it's really valuable. But then where it often fails is that, okay, now we have these insights. Often it's pretty expensive as well to do the research, right, to get these personas. And then it stops. Because then, okay, let's say, for example, I have a customer that's really independent and I have a customer that really wants support. I cannot just, hack the CRM and make a filter and say, these are all the customers that, need support. These are all the customers that are super independent. When a customer calls the call center, yes, I can give the agent training. Hey, based on these signals, maybe you have a person that needs support versus a person that just says, give me the answer and let me figure it out. As of course, in training types of people that you can get in your customer service, it could help. But for me, that's where it stops, right? So for me, I don't see a lot of value in saying, okay, with everything I'm developing, each customer journey, I'm going to build a completely different journey for each persona. Because often what we see when we do the research is that the essence, right, the essence of the drivers that we discover, they're pretty generic, right? Personal attention, being treated with respect. They're not really that different for different target groups. That's one reason, right, why we always say, okay, just, start building more personal attention in this case for everybody. And only when it stops, when you don't see satisfaction increase anymore, maybe that's the time to start differentiating. But until that time, just start improving. And the other practical implication is it actually feasible to have, I don't know how many different journeys times how many different personas when the nuances between personas are relatively small? So for me, yes, to understand the types of customers, to, let's say, make customer centricity come more alive, right? So employees have a better sense, hey, this is a picture of this type of customer. They have these kind of traits. For that part, for being aware, creating awareness, definitely. For a double check, is my UX covering all the different types of customers and their needs? Also fair enough. For innovation, for sure, right? If you really want to create a completely new product, then yes, the needs for me looking for a pension at age 30 is a very different needs that you need to design for than for a me that's 58 and about to go on a pension. All the other use cases, which, right, 90% of the cases, we're just improving. We're improving a journey. We're improving a channel experience, right? We're not innovating. We're not making something completely different. My advice is focus on the key drivers that matter for everybody. Focus on execution, start improving, and only after X period of time, and X tends to be a minimum of 3 months, but more often a year or longer, right? That's how long you can keep improving before you need to start differentiating because you don't see it going up anymore. So for me, personas, they have specific use cases, but in most of the companies where I see personas being used, they've just spent too much money, too much time in doing the research, but then the practical application is really hard to find. So for me, that summarizes the sense and non-sense of using personas.